Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So it's been all over TikTok and in the news lately, claiming that a new law was just passed that rolls back disability rights and even paves the way for segregation for people with special needs. If you saw that and your stomach dropped, I want you to take a deep breath. It's completely valid that you feel scared whenever you see threats to your kids' rights. Your protective instincts and my protective instincts kick right in. But today I want to clear the air. I went out and I actually read the raw government documents that dropped on June 18th. And I have good news. Your child's school rights have not changed. And no one passed a law to segregate special education. First, let's clear up the biggest misconception driving the panic on social media. People are talking about this like it's a brand new law passed by Congress or a final ruling from the Supreme Court. It is neither. What actually happened is that the Department of Justice's Office of Legal Counsel, or the OLC, issued an internal memo. An OLC memo is essentially a legal advisory note. It's the executive branch's lawyers giving their opinion on how the administration should interpret existing laws when they enforce them. It does not change, rewrite, or erase federal civil rights laws. It does not touch ADA, that's our American with Disabilities Act. It does not touch Section 504. And most importantly, it does not change the wording of IDEA. That's our Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. Your child's legal right to an education in the least restrictive environment alongside their peers is still fully protected by federal law. A memo cannot change that. So it's just an internal memo. Why are disability advocacy groups like the ARC and the American Association of People with Disabilities sounding the alarm? Because while it doesn't change the law, it does signal a shift in how the federal government plans to enforce it. To understand why, we have to look at a famous 1999 civil or Supreme Court case called Olmstead versus LC. For nearly 30 years, this case has been the absolute bedrock of disability rights. The Supreme Court ruled that under the ADA, states cannot unnecessarily force people with disabilities into institutions or isolated facilities if they can be safely supported at home or in their local communities. This is called the integration mandate. Well, this new DOJ memo argues that federal agencies have interpreted Olmstead too broadly over the years. The memo claims that the text of the ADA doesn't legally force states to prioritize community-based care over institutional care. In plain English, the administration is signaling that the federal government might step back from aggressively forcing states to fund community and home-based services. Disability advocates are rightfully concerned and worried about this, because when the federal government stops enforcing a civil right, it makes it much harder for vulnerable people to get the care they need at home. And it places a massive burden on families to fight individual legal battles. But there's a critical distinction we need to consider for the SPED parents watching this channel. This memo is primarily focused on adult health care funding, housing, and state-level institutional care. It is not a green light for school districts to segregate children. The fear on social media is mixing up adult housing policies with K-12 public education. Your child's daily life at school, their inclusion in general education classrooms, their therapies, their modifications, is governed by their IEP and the IDEA law. School districts are still legally bound to provide a free, appropriate public education in the least restrictive environment. The headlines are scary, and the administration's shift away from enforcing community integration for adults is something we should absolutely keep our eyes on and advocate against if necessary. But your children are safe. There is no segregation law that was put into place. Trust me, if we went back to the days of Willowbrook, you wouldn't see me sitting here calmly. I'd be the first one in line protesting. But as SPED parents and teachers, our power has always been local. It's in the IEP meeting room. It's in knowing our children's rights and holding our local school districts accountable. We protect our kids by staying informed, not by panicking. So I'm going to be posting other videos about how I, as a SPED teacher, include my students in the regular education population, because I still believe that is needed and necessary. If this video helped clear things up and brought your blood pressure down a bit, please give it a thumbs up, share it with another SPED parent who might be feeling anxious today, and subscribe for more clear, compassionate breakdowns of what's happening in our world of SPED. Thank you for everything you do for your amazing child, student, neighbor with special needs.